kids, it's Teacher Allie, and today we're going to be talking about how God blesses. Not long ago, I went through a time where I felt so alone and so sad, and the only thing I could think to do was rely on God. I spent most of my time with Him. I prayed more than I thought possible, and God's Word was literally food for my soul. His presence during that time was so real, and I felt so close to Him. Often, I think back on the time of suffering and wish to go back there. It sounds crazy, but the closeness that I experienced with God was truly a blessing. I asked Him, how can I have you so close to me like you were back then? Is it possible without the suffering? Maybe and maybe not. It seems strange to pine after a time of suffering unless you've really experienced how sweet it is to be so close to Him. It's strange until you realize that to be blessed isn't necessarily to have good things in your life or to have happiness, but to experience the Spirit of God transforming your life. Maybe today's lesson will help you understand.
I'm really competitive. Man, I love sports and I love competition and I love playing board games with my family. Man, when I was a child though, can I tell you a secret? When I was your age, I was really bad at cheating, right? I don't cheat now. I promise you I don't cheat now. But when I was your age, I was really sneaky, especially when we played games like Monopoly. Games where I was the banker and I had to be in charge of all the money. Man, did I love to cheat people so that I could win. Nowadays, of course, I know that's wrong. So please forgive me. And actually, reading the Bible has helped me realize it's wrong. In our Big God story today, there's a father called Isaac. There's two sons, Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau are twin brothers. And the younger one, just by a couple of minutes maybe, is Jacob. Esau's the older brother. And in biblical times, as we see in the Bible, that means that Esau was going to get his father's blessing. But can you believe it? Jacob cheated his own brother from his father's blessing. This was a big deal. And Jacob knew that he had messed up big time, and he knew that he needed to run away and leave his father's house. But do you think his twin brother Esau was going to just let him escape? No. Esau was going to chase Jacob down. And Esau kept chasing Jacob until he was going to find him. Jacob eventually realized that he couldn't escape his brother. And so he cried out to God for help, and God heard his cry. That night near the river Jabbok, Jacob spent the night all by himself. And while he was there, a man who was God in human form came and wrestled with Jacob all night long. In the process, the man touched Jacob's hip and it began to hurt. And yet Jacob refused to let go of the man until he blessed Jacob. You see, Jacob wanted the blessing from God. The man ended up giving Jacob a new name, Israel, because he struggled with God. When Jacob begged God for the blessing, he finally realized what God's blessing meant. A relationship with the God of the universe, who had the power to change him on the inside and the outside. Being blessed by God is all about having more of Him in our lives. So I want to challenge you. Seek after the blessing of God. Ask God to do something in you and through you, on the inside and on the outside, so that you can have more of God in your life.
The Holy Tales.
Hello, my name is Tubby. I live here in this wonderful library and I love to eat books. I live here with my friends, Gumbo and Freckles. Gumbo, Freckles, come out, wherever you are. Over there, on that great book, is Grand Old Holy. She is really old and wise and tells us wonderful stories when she is awake, that is. Oh, and we love to sing.
Father Abraham had many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's all praise the Lord right on.
Since you are singing this song today, I am going to tell you a story about Father Abraham and God's promise to him.
Oh, yes, Tell us the story. We love the song and want to know the story behind it.
Okay. Long, long ago, there was a city named Ur. A good man called Abraham lived there. Abraham truly believed in God. God saw this and was very happy because at this time, not many people believed in God. He said to himself,
Abraham deserves to be rewarded for being such a good man.
So one day, God came to him and asked him to go to another place far, far away. He said,
I promise you, Abraham, that you and your family will be great, and everyone on earth would be blessed because of you.
Since Abraham trusted God and believed in him, he left Ur with his family. They traveled over hills and rivers and came to a land called Canaan. They camped by a big oak tree at Moreh. There at Moreh, God came to Abraham once again. This time he blessed Abraham and said,
This land belongs to you and your children, and the world is a blessed place because you are such a good man.
So Abraham built a beautiful altar for God and worshipped him. But God's gift worried Abraham. He said,
I'm getting old and have no children to enjoy your gift.
God then took Abraham outside and asked him to look up at the sky. He said,
Try and count the number of stars in the sky.
Abraham started counting the stars. God blessed him and said,
I will give you more children than you can count.
Abraham believed God and was happy.
Oh, is this why we are all children of Father Abraham?
Today's question is, what did God promise Abraham?
Oh, I think he promised to make Father Abraham the king of Canaan.
No, silly. He promised him as many children as there were stars in the sky. So, he had zillions and zillions of children.
Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's all praise the Lord right on.
The Holy
Watching. If you have any prayer requests, make sure to email us at lighthouse@plaog.net, and don't forget to download the activity sheets in the description below. See you next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to tune in next week for the G.net and download. Bye.